Well, we start here. President Cyril Ramaphosa will address the nation tonight on developments in South Africa's risk-adjusted COVID-19 strategy as the country is expected to move to level 3 lockdown. This follows numerous consultative meetings the president has had with various stakeholders such as business, tourism, labour, political parties, traditional healers and the religious communities. The Democratic Alliance, FF Plus and lobby group AfriForum have filed court papers to take government to court to end the lockdown.
South Africans are eagerly waiting for the president's address tonight. 2 weeks ago, the president assured the nation that the country will move to level 3 by the end of May.
We are moving to level 3. Many parts of the country will go to level 3. There are certain areas in the country that are hotspots, which we are going to be talking about to demonstrate precisely the incidence of infections.
But there might be a possibility of a differentiated approach when easing the lockdown. Government will have to outline whether the entire country will be placed under lower lockdown level, whether places with high infection rates will stay under lockdown 4.
The one thing that South Africans will be looking out for today is a bit more clarity on what is meant by lockdown level 3. How much broader the regulations will expand to include different sectors of the economy, different kinds of movement across provinces and districts. But I think the most important one is the question about will the country move in its entirety, or will certain provinces, districts, wards be left behind in lockdown level 4, and what are the implications of that? I think there hasn't been much clarity on how those decisions will be made as to which parts of the country will move to lockdown level 3, which will stay behind, and how that might impact on something like travel. If travel is allowed between provinces or between districts, how will one province or one district be held behind while another one moves forward?
But what activities are permitted during level 3? According to draft level 3 regulations, there is a proposed lifting on the ban of alcohol sales, but the prohibition of cigarette sales remains. Various sectors like the automotive, mining and clothing will be scaled up to 100%. Marriage certificates will now be issued. Also, the limited domestic travel is expected to be permitted. While some items will be added, most of the restrictions will remain in place. The country will also see the phased reopening of schools, with grade 12s and 7s starting on the 1st of June. Authorities have warned that these are not cast in stone. Should the situation worsen, government can reinstate stricter alert levels. But for now, all eyes will be on President Cyril Ramaphosa to take the nation into confidence about the next move. Natasha Piri, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Well, South Africans will only know this evening which parts of the country will move to level 3 and which will remain on alert level 4 of the national lockdown. President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to shed more light on this and other plans to reopen the already ailing economy when he addresses the nation at 7 p.m. And of course, a reminder that that will be broadcast on this platform on SABC News. Let's cross over to Natasha Piri, our reporter, who's now stationed in Alexandra, just to hear what some of the residents in Alexandra have to say about what the president could possibly say this evening. A very good afternoon to you, Natasha.
Very good afternoon to you, Flo. Well, huge expectations here from the people of 4th Avenue in Alexandria. Of course, they are waiting with bated breath to hear what the president has to say in terms of easing down the lockdown regulations from lockdown 4 to lockdown 3. And just to take you perhaps to some of these draft regulations on level 3, the proposed guidelines. Of course, various sectors are actually expected to be opened up. Other sectors, Flo, are expected to be scaled up to 100%, like the mining sector, like other sectors like automotive, and of course the clothing sector. Of course, the sale of alcohol would be permitted, but the contentious issue of tobacco and cigarette sales is one that is set to actually remain closed. But to talk to me more about this issue and his expectations, his family's expectations, I'm joined by Ntate Sipho Nkwana. Thank you so much for joining us on SABC. Tate Sipho, what are your expectations from the president? I mean, he's expected to ease the lockdown regulations from level 4 to level 3. But do you think that, areas like Johannesburg actually qualify? As I'm speaking right now, Watako Alex are not adhering to the lockdown regulation rules.
Yes, sisters, all the people of Alex, I don't see the reason why the president, he can continue to stay on, Joburg can stay on level 4, because people in Alex, they are not obeying the lockdown rules. So if he can open everything so that people can go back to work because they are suffering, and then he keep on saying level 3, level 2, it doesn't work for us. Only people that are working, it's working for us, because when we get to the job, they sanitize you, they screen you, they do everything. And then when we come back to townships, it's not happening. It's not on. Only if the president can open everything so that people can live their own normal. It up to any people to take this COVID-19 serious. Then I think Mr. President can do that for us tonight.
So Tate Sipho, just to clarify, you're basically saying Alex or Batako Joburg, Johannesburg should actually remain under level 4, yes, and the president shouldn't ease the lockdown to level 3.
No, she shouldn't ease lockdown to level 3 because they are not obeying, and then the spread of the COVID-19 is going to be worse. So if it's like that, let the president, if he say we stick at level 4, he rather put it back to level 5, because there's no one who's obeying for the rules. If he can just give us at least people who we can see, so that they're testing, they do everything, then people can volunteer to go there so that they can test and then know your status where you are. Because we don't know, now we are here and then you're not sure that we've got this COVID or we've got what. You see, if you can help us and then open everything, then it's fine. Rather than to put Joburg back into level 4.
So do you agree that grade 12 pupils and grade 7 pupils should go back to school on the 1st of June?
For that, sisters, I'm not agreeing with Minister Injim Mtshekga, because let the parliament start first to go to the parliament. Then he'll take the school back to school. Because you can't say small children, they can take care of themselves, whereas older people, they are afraid to go back to work. Let the parliament open. Then we can take our children back to school. Yes.
What about the sale of alcohol?
The sale of alcohol, I think Mr. President must just open that, because people that are drinking, and then they're going to end up, today I was looking at news in the morning, people from Western Cape, they drink whatever they call it, and then 2 are dead, 5 are in hospital. So people, they're going to keep on brewing those things from home and then end up being sick. So you rather open the alcohol and the cigarette. Then life goes on.
Maybe your message to the people of Alexandra in terms of abiding to, social distancing, to washing of hands with alcohol-based sanitizer, Lisa. I mean, right now as I'm speaking, I can see people who aren't even wearing masks, including kids, and that's quite worrisome.
Yeah, it's worrying, because people of Alex, please, I'm begging you, COVID-19 is there. Please put your mask on. Parents, speak to your kids so that they don't play on the street. They can stay at home. I think Takalan is coming back. They can wash Takalan Sisame from now on. Please, they must wash their hands regularly. Kids are playing. I can show you some. They are playing. They don't even think about that. But if you parents, you're not telling them what to do, their kids, they can't do it. They can't even obey those things.
Okay. Thank you so much. Well, Flo, you've heard there the sentiments by Tate Sipho saying that the president shouldn't actually ease down those lockdown regulations. Lockdown regulations for places like Alexandra should actually stay under lockdown because people are not adhering to those lockdown regulations. So it remains to be seen what actually will happen, Flo. The president needs to clarify which areas will actually go to lockdown level 3, because as you know, there's hotspots like the Western Cape, which is sitting at over 13,000 cases cases. Gauteng as well. I mean, we've got 2 epicenters, Ekurhuleni and Johannesburg. So it'll be interesting to hear and to see what the president has to say at 7 o'clock tonight. Just a reminder to our SABC viewers to stay tuned to the SABC for that all-important briefing. Back to you in studio, Flo.
All right, Natasha Piri, thank you so very much for that. Our reporter there, based at 4th Avenue in Alexandra, speaking to some of the residents there. We heard from a gentleman, Sipho, saying that residents are not complying and saying that in that regard, that they are not ready to move down to level 3. In fact, saying that children must stay home and just watch Takalani Sesame, for example. All right, so those are some of the views then. That's in Gauteng, Alexandra. Of course, we gave you some views as well from the Eastern Cape. Of course, we'll be getting more holistic views from people around the country as the day progresses and as we count down to the president addressing us this evening at 7 p.m. and as Natasha rightly said, right here on SABC News. All right.